around 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, Kurfürstendamm in Berlin. And for this story, we have to go back a number of years. You see down there, that's Kurfürstendamm 63. And in the mid-1930s, one Katharina Zamitz had a brothel there. And in 1939, she decided that she didn't like the regime and she was going to leave. But she was caught at the border and she was brought back. Now, let's go back in time a bit. Katharina, she went off to the United Kingdom before the First World War. And there she met somebody who worked in the Spanish embassy. And had a child in Cardiff before the First World War. Sometime after the war, she came back to Berlin, where she was from, and she went into business by running a salon, brothel if you like, in Budapester Strasse before moving into this property here. Well, obviously it wasn't this one here because that's a new building. And then she got, she must have been doing okay. Apparently she was even sending money to anti-Nazis and people who had to escape who were living abroad. As she didn't quite like the way things were going, she tried to escape. She was caught at the Dutch border, and Walter Schellenberg made her an offer she couldn't refuse. She could either choose between working for the Nazis or ending up in a concentration camp. Now, lots of this story, lots of these things are not true, because Katharina herself did not leave an autobiography or anything like that. Schellenberg's idea, or at least he said it was that of his boss, Heydrich, or their idea, was to open up a high-class brothel and then to see if they would bug it, and then they would try to see if they get information that could be of use. And that was this house here, which unfortunately we can't see very well because of the scaffolding. Now, the idea was that if they could have some girls who would show the gentleman concerned a really good time, and then they would get information. And listening devices were put in. So I think they had 12 rooms, and they had 5 staff who were listening on permanent duty, or 5 people always there. And there were about 20 girls working there. Now, if somebody came to this place here and said that they came from Rothenburg, and that was a clue, that was the password to get a special book, and there was a special book with photographs in, and the girls would be telephoned, and then they would come to do whatever they had to do. Now, the idea itself is, I think, quite ridiculous, and it's more bending to the ideology of not ideology so much as the sexual fantasies of Heydrich and Schellenberg. Maybe it's just that they could have a place that they could visit at the taxpayer's expense. That's what I believe it was. But the idea that they could get in foreign diplomats and other people, maybe from the resistance or something like that, would come round here and then tell all to some young lady. Another thing which is important, in the Third Reich, the people were hated each other and they were competing each other. When you had a system where it was, okay, Hitler was at the top and he sort of united it, but the people below him, they were fighting amongst themselves. And indeed, Heydrich and he got the job as being the Sicherheitsdienst, the security service. It was Himmler's idea, so that he could control who came into the Nazi Party. And once the Nazi Party came to power, he didn't have to control who came in, but he was keeping an eye on who else was in it and what they were up to. So it could also have been used to spy on people within the Nazi Party. Now, who actually came here? Well, we have the evidence of only one of the ladies who actually worked here. In 1976 there was a film produced in Italy called Salon Kitty, which I haven't seen, but that I think encouraged one of the former employees there to come out, and she gave an interview to Der Spiegel then. Her name is, I've got a copy of it, but because of privacy laws now in German, I'm not going to say her name. I'll have to think about this before, because I will do this in more detail in a different video, and then I'll think about if I'll say her name or not. And the situation was that whereas Schellenberg said that they got a lot of useful information, it's hard to see what that information would be, and he didn't give any clues. Schellenberg, like Heydrich, they lived in the world of sort of detective novels and things of this nature, and whereas they certainly, Schellenberg, to pull off some coups, for example the kidnapping of British agents at Venlo. The Venlo incident was a major success for him. Here, what did they learn? Now, well, who came? So was, for example, the Italian ambassador came, and he would have had stacks of information, of course, but nothing was actually cleaned out of him. Count Ciano, Galeazzo Ciano, Mussolini's son-in-law, the husband of his daughter Edda, he came here. Well, one thing we know about him is that he didn't take his socks off. Now, he was highly critical of Hitler, and he would seem that certainly he didn't even want the alliance with Hitler. No, it gave that impression. Anyway, more about that in a different video. But did they learn anything? No. Who else was here? Sepp Dietrich apparently once ordered all 20 girls at once. I think that's pathetic. So 20, all he could manage. Who else was here? Well, Goebbels apparently, although Goebbels is reputed to have come around here. I do find that one rather difficult to believe, because Goebbels was noted for having a go at starlets and things like that. One case, which yesterday I was writing up a future video on Goebbels, and what he did let's call her. He invited her out. She was a film star. She appeared in their films. He invited her out. She thought we were going to see a film. Turns out he took her out to a country house in Lanka. He made advances on her. She spurned them. And then he brought her back and then dumped her off on the motorway before they even got back to Berlin, making her fortunately find her own way home. And say, do you know who I am? I could ruin you, so to speak. And anyway, then she went and spoke to his wife about what had happened. Fromm, apparently, Friedrich Fromm, head of the Home Army, the one who was hot and cold on the attempted coup d'etat, the one who was arrested by the people under Stauffenberg trying to do the military coup, and who eventually had Stauffenberg shot. He also didn't reveal anything. Well, he probably revealed something, but nothing that the Schellenberg could have used. So, anyway, I'll do a longer video on this. This building was bombed in July of 1943, and it was destroyed then. And so largely it wasn't in use all that long time, and it didn't give a great deal of information, but it still is the sort of thing from legends and the like. So I've tried to tell you a little bit there. Take this as a trailer video done from the location of where it happened. And if you're interested to know more, then I'll be doing a longer video with more background information, particularly on Kitty. She died in the 1950s. I think she was 71 when she died, and her son took over the business, continued as it was, and I think it continued from 1990 or something like that. But it ran partially as a hotel and partially a boarding house, a cheap boarding house, like the sort of thing you've got in the Bayswater area of London, for example, which have a dual function. And King's Cross, sorry, Bayswater when I lived there, that was in the 80s. So anyway, I'll do a longer video on it, and if you're interested, I upload every Friday at 2000 hours. And so my specialisation is in the Nazi period, largely communist period as well, and in particular the Holocaust. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you might want to subscribe. Lots of stuff here from Berlin, but from me in Germany for the moment. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.